delighted you're here. I apologize for being a little bit late. For Hoss and me, our true stories are really true. So, sometimes some politicians, not speaking about anybody in the audience, but true stories may not be true. Ours are always true. I had a little accident. There was a little accident on the interstate, slowed me down a little bit. So thank y'all for your patience. How about standing with me while we Halsey will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, again, welcome. I'm Bill Munford, your state senator, and this is Halsey Beshears, your representative. And let me just kick it off and say how delighted we are to be here. In fact, I'm coming in the door with a couple of gentlemen. I said, I like St.Joe, and I know Halsey does too. And we really consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to represent you in the Florida legislature. St.Joe, Gulf County, and surrounding areas, just a real special part of Florida. We want to sometimes keep it secret because if some of our colleagues from Central and South Florida knew how nice it was up here, they'd be up here running against us for office, and we don't want that. I want to take just a moment to reintroduce Marcia Mathis. She's been with us for a long time, and she loves working with Gulf County as well. It's a pleasure and it's a lot of fun. I want to say too how much fun it is to work with Halsey. We kid all the time. People think we're brothers, about the same age. We look alike, but he's a delight to work with. You've got a good man in the Florida House of Representatives in Halsey Beshears. We think a lot alike. We work together real well, and it's just a pleasure to work with Halsey. So, Halsey, take over.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate y'all taking the time to be here on a school afternoon. I'll be brief as well. It's a privilege and an honor to represent you in House District 7. As you know, Senator Munford and I share 9 counties. We tend to do this quite a bit, so it's hard to believe we're in our 4th one, sir. You realize we've done 40-something, 36, 37 meetings together. So this isn't our first time together. And I always think it's important to say that as a Republican and a Democrat, the Senator Munford and I always find a way to get along. And we may not always agree on everything, but we always do what's in the best interest of House District 7. Dade County has 22 delegate members down there. It's an effort and a struggle just to get them to actually have a meeting together. But the fact that there are actually people on the same party on the same side who argue and can't get along, it continues to baffle us both, I promise you. So our self-interest comes second to what the people of House District 7 want, in my opinion. So it's a privilege to be here, and it is a joy to work with the senator. I introduced my staff, Vicki Summerhill. It amazed me after these delegation meetings, I still can't remember to introduce my staff, and I'm always embarrassed. But Vicki, she does a fantastic job. For those of you that don't know her, she's been with me from the get-go. So we'll keep this brief. We always learn something here. We appreciate everyone you being here tonight.
Okay, we got a couple announcements. 2016 legislative session this year begins January 12th. Remember now, usually it's March and April, but we moved it up this year to January, February. So it's not too far around the corner. And that means we have our committee meetings earlier, so we're already in those as well, and we have these meetings earlier. We'd like to ask if you would, if you want to speak, we'd love to have you fill out a card here so we can keep a record of it, and so we need to follow up and contact you. I encourage each one of you, if you got any questions or any comments or anything, please come on up. That's why we're here. We really value your input in what's going on. There's no way under the sun that Hoss and I and our staff can keep up with everything that's going on and what your interests and concerns are. So we're here for a really reason. This is not just a show and tell. We're here to learn something, and so don't hesitate to come up and let us know what you're saying. And not only that, anytime later on, if you want to call us, or if you're in Tallahassee, come by and see us and help us spread that word, because we really need to know what's going on and how we can help you. I also mentioned we've got a lot of counties up here, and so we all got to stick together. Halls and I say we want our fair share and a little bit more. But that makes it, that's the way it would be even. So, again, we need your input. So we're gonna jump right in and with the public, testimony. I would say too, though, that if you've got some reason you need to get out of here quick, if you got a baby at home or you got an elderly person, something you need to take care of or something else, let them know and they'll slip us a note up here and we'll go ahead and put you up front so you can get in and out. Now, if you just want to go home and eat, that's not good enough, okay? We're going to watch you. Okay, first one on the list, Eugene Rafield. Eugene, you're on.
All right.
Speaking of eating, we love your seafood.
Well, it's our seafood. It's everybody's. Good Lord's blessed us, I can tell you that. 6 generations. Since 1898, the Rafield family's been very, very fortunate and love to share and be a part of it. I just want to start off by saying what an honor it is to have you, Senator Mumford, and Representative Shears here in Gulf County, the Constitution City, where the Constitution of our great state of Florida was written in 1838, and we've had an active deep water port here since 1838. And today I want to report and just thank y'all for your efforts of continuing the fight for the port of Port St. Joe. We've got a lot of things going on with St.Joe Company. We've got some things going on with the railroad and DOT. And at this day, we've got a great email today. And because of your efforts, we're going to get $1 million with no matching funds from FDOT to start the early final design of the dredging project, which I think will take about 120 days. I'm not sure what day we'll get the money, but I've got Mr. Tommy Pitts with Hatchmont McDonald in the audience tonight. He drove over this afternoon. I've talked to Vice President of St.Joe Company, David Graft, and I've let all my commissioners know what's going on. And this is a lot of y'all's effort, meetings we've had in Tallahassee over the last several months. And this is a great day for not only Gulf County, but the other 9 counties. This is a coalition of counties of a regional concept that will just help an economic engine in this territory for many years to come when this port becomes back at what it needs to become. I just can't thank you enough. We're going to work hard. We've got some real hard work on the rail money to work at. We've got some contracts that are very close to being signed within the next 2 weeks, both on the port side as well as the rail. So we hope to have something out on the wire here in a few weeks. And I just, again, commend y'all for your efforts. This wouldn't be possible without both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eugene. I know, and thanks goes to you and other members of the Port Authority, but just the community in general, because we all know, we've been talking about this for a long time, what a shot in the arm it'll be for all of North Florida.
Yes, sir.
And so thank y'all for your leadership and your hard work and your just not giving up.
We're not giving up. We're not quitters in Gulf County.
Amen.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, number 2, we've got Chris Holly. Chris, come on down. Yo, y'all stole Chris from us. Tallahassee.
We're going to keep him too.
I'll be short with it. I think both of you have heard from me before. My new role here is working on economic development for Gulf County, and I know we've had a lot of conversations about incentives in the legislature over the past few years, and I know there's some Senate committee meetings recently with our friend Bill Johnson where there's some tough questions that were asked. But for rural Florida, some of the incentives are important. I know they're important to all of Florida, but and Senator, I know that you sponsor legislation, and Halsey, I know you've worked on it as well. So we'll be back. I talked to Chris Doolin at length this morning. The message that I got from President Gates when I spoke to him on Friday about the same subject was find what's worked. Let's throw out what's not working, and let's fix and move forward with what has worked, whether it's in enterprise zones or whatever it is. So we're going to work on finding what has really worked and come to you with some suggestions, and we just appreciate your help and support going forward.
Good deal. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Okay, next we have Ron Schaefer.
I'm going to waive that, sir, for right now. Thank you.
You want what, that?
I'm going to waive that for right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Amy. Hey, come on up.
Hello, sirs. How are you?
Doing fine. Glad you're here.
Glad to be
Amy, why don't you just tell everybody who you are?
Okay, my name is Amy Datz, and I am the head of the Environmental Caucus of Florida. They've already seen me speak many times. We're going to come back here on October 23rd to talk to your county commission about fracking. This is what fracked Florida would look like. Fracking is where they put a pipe down in the ground. They put it down 1 or 2 miles, and then they pump into it toxins, heavy metals, radioactive materials, and explosives. And then with hundreds of thousands of, sometimes millions of gallons of your fresh, clean water. Then it comes back up, the water is permanently contaminated, and there is no safe way to dispose of it. So it will have to punch through your aquifer. Of course, the pipes can leak. And some of you mentioned to me that you were interested in jobs. They will not hire you guys. They're going to bring in people from the outside. These people are disposable. They do not give them health care. They do not give them leave for sickness. They don't cover their medical bills. They give them no assistance. If they get hurt or damaged, they are not allowed to mention safety. I wanted you to see this. This is the area that they're looking at for fracking in the future. And they are, at this point, you can see Gulf County is right there in the heart of it. At this point, there is a study going on in Calhoun County. And I'm giving this study information to your county commissioners so that they will be aware of what's going to happen. There's going to be 63 miles of transects going in a pattern looking for oil and gas. And this is in the south end of Calhoun County, the north end of Gulf County. They will, every 330 feet along the 63-mile transects, they will have an explosive, and that explosion will then be read 12,000 to 14,000 feet down. That is the area where fracked oil will be found. But they're going to have to punch through your aquifer, your fresh, clean drinking water, before they get to that point. So I wanted you all to be aware that this is going to happen in Calhoun County and northern Gulf County. You are downstream from them, and if that occurs, it will impact your water, your drinking water. And if you own let's say you own a private well. The private well, if it's contaminated, you will have to sue, you personally, your insurance company will not cover it. You personally will have to sue the oil and gas companies. Now, you all know what happened with the BP. It took 5 years. Could you stand for 5 years not to have fresh drinking water in your home, water to bathe with, flush your toilet with, wash your clothes with, mow your lawn with? That would be horribly expensive to have to pay for every time. This is another article that I put in to the package for your county commissioners to look at. This gentleman in Gainesville tried to sell his home. He found out that he did not own the mineral rights underneath his home, and he could not sell his home. His home went from a value of $200,000 to $1,000 because he could not sell his home. People said, I'm not going to buy a home that could be fracked. Why should I? And so that is another argument for banning fracking. And one last thing, yeah. I'll be short. In California, because they have no water, they've used their 70 million gallons of water on fracking. They are using fracked water for their food crops. So I want to start a campaign that says frack-free food from Florida, so that we can market our crops as frack-free and not contaminated by fracked water. So I'm mentioning this to Senator Montford and Representative Beshears have heard my spiel before, and they're going to hear it in a couple hours again in Franklin County. But I just wanted you all to know what's coming down the pike and what's going to happen in your county and to your fresh drinking water. So I thank you for allowing me to speak, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you being here. We'll be seeing Amy probably every meeting we have. But we appreciate your concern.
Thank you, sir.
But also now, this is not a public hearing on this. This is
No.
And then there will be plenty of opportunity. Y'all see her again and others, and you'll see people on the other side as well. But thank you, Amy, for being here and sharing that information, and we'll be seeing you around, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's out of my concern for the people of Gulf County that I'm here today, because I don't want their wells to be destroyed.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Marcia Lindman and Sarah Hines. This Florida Department of Health up there. Oh, yeah, come on down. They call these a dynamic duo. Y'all usually bring good information or uplifting information. Is it the same this year?
It is, and thank you so much for letting us present again tonight. I do bring Sarah Hines with me. Sarah is our Community Outreach and Wellness Promotion Manager for Gulf County, and we are here, of course, to say thank you. You continue to support us. You continue to be interested in the services that we're providing here, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the opportunity to share with you what we're doing, what we've done, and what we're planning to do. The Department of Health's priorities for this next year, there are three that are really focused that will impact Gulf and Franklin County: healthy moms and babies, long healthy lives, and readiness for emerging health threats. So one of the things we'll be looking at for healthy moms and babies this next year, we'll be really drilling down on infant mortality rates, looking at health disparities that may impact infant mortality rates. You know, in small counties like this, it just takes one death. We have just a little over 100 births in each county each year.
How many?
Just a little over 100 each year in each county. So the numbers are small. So one death, and you have yourself a significant rate. So we'll have a lot more to report back on to you on this about this topic next year. But wanted to let you know a new focus that we'll be working on. But we have some real successes that we wanted to share with you. Long, healthy lives is a priority. Ultimately, how you measure a long, healthy life is life expectancy. You would expect to see chronic diseases going down. You would expect to see fewer new cancers. So those are lofty goals, and a lot has to happen to move those kinds of statistics in the right direction. So the things we're focusing on here in Gulf County are some healthiest weight initiatives, and continuing to focus on tobacco prevention. The obesity rates in the state of Florida and tobacco use in the state of Florida are the two greatest threats to public health in the state of Florida. So I'd like for Sarah to tell you just a little bit about what we've done about healthiest weight this past year.
So we have two very successful initiatives that we coordinated with our CHIP partners, which stands for Community Health Improvement Partners. One was called the Community Fitness Challenge, and so even if you aren't a fitness challenge final winner, to lose in a fitness challenge is really to win for your health. So, and that's what participants did in two Gulf County community fitness challenges. So in December of 2014, CHIP partners were asked by citizens in Gulf County to facilitate these challenges. And CHIP partners worked together to coordinate and advertise for two 12-week programs. The first challenge took place on January 7th through April 1st, and the second challenge, which was implemented due to popular demand, began June 1st and ended August 21st. Our staff at the health department and community health improvement partners worked closely with the participants and to provide educational materials and keep them motivated along the way. They had 3-week checkpoints where they come in and weigh themselves to see where they were. In total, we're proud to announce that 1,016 pounds were lost and never to be found again among the 168 participants of both challenges.
That's the good news. Mm-hmm. We have some good news about tobacco too. And then we'll go back. Well, let's talk about the kids first, the healthiest weight. That was the good news for adults. You know, we have a tobacco use survey for our youth that we do every 2 years. We'll talk about the good news results of that in a minute, but they inserted some questions in there about obesity and weight measures, and they put some weight data in there. And what we saw, and you'll hear about this in Franklin a little bit later, what we saw in both Gulf and Franklin, and we gave you a couple graphs to illustrate that, is that in all ages of our children, our young children, middle school and high school students, our overweight rates have climbed and are higher than the state, and our obesity rates have climbed. There were a couple of times where we saw the overweight rate drop, and we were like, yay. But what we saw was the obesity rate went up. So what happened is some of our students moved from the overweight category into the obese category. So we're really going to focus this year on healthy weight measures, healthy weight messages, and some activities in the schools, starting with the early childhood education programs all the way through the high schools in both counties to really target those. And we have some evidence-based curriculum and initiatives that we're going to introduce to try to move those numbers, because those are so serious. Those are not going in the right direction. So we hope to come back and give you some better results for the youth measures related to their weight this time next year. But I wanted Sarah to brag about the Gulf County tobacco results from 2012 till last year.
It's worth bragging. The 2014 Gulf County Youth Tobacco Survey revealed a growing youth chapter of students working against tobacco. It's actually 6 times greater than the state average, and you'll see that in your report. And as SWAT participation increases, Gulf County tobacco use rates are significantly decreasing.
Yeah.
So in just 2 years, tobacco use among Gulf County high school teens dropped from almost 50% in 2012 to 29% in 2014.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. For middle school, you could see significant drops as well. In 2012, the middle school students who used any form of tobacco on one or the past 30 days were reported to be 21% of our middle school students. In 2014, 7.7%.
So we have a dramatic presence with our students working against tobacco, and it's the peer message to the students that we think is really making a difference with these schools. The scores are remarkable. We still have more to go. If 29% of our high school students are using tobacco, we still have work to do. But to have gone from 50% that far down, we just did a happy dance when we got the results.
Do you separate smoking and
Yes, sir.
Smokeless
Smokeless.
tobacco?
Smokeless, yes, sir. And also cigars. So we have it broken down, and all the use went up. It corresponded. The use went up. I'm sorry, it went down from 2012 in all of the different types of tobacco. What we're starting to also look at right now, and I don't have any current data, but we'll have some, is the e-cigarette usage. But there's a real focus right now from the Department of Health on messaging the dangers and stopping the e-cigarette use.
how about these advertisements on television? Bad. I mean, it makes you. They work, or do you know? And not you, but statewide.
We believe they work, yes, sir.
Yeah.
The last priority that I talked about was readiness for emerging health threats. And of course, we're always training and exercising for that next hurricane or that next weather event, but also looking at other disease outbreaks and surveillance. And just to brag about the state of Florida for a moment, in the Department of Health this last year, we monitored more than 700 travelers who traveled back from West Africa this past year. There was a very close monitoring program that was completed on every traveler for 3 weeks after they returned back to the state of Florida, monitoring for any signs and symptoms of Ebola, which of course there were not, which we're happy about. But that was not something that we ran up the flagpole, where we have 3 travelers and we're monitoring. That there was no reason to do that, but it was every reason to monitor, and we stayed in almost daily communication with the CDC about the status of all these travelers. And when we handed these travelers off from one county to the next, we stayed in connection with the CDC. So a lot of Kim Barnhill, our Deputy Secretary for Health, likes to say that if you do public health right, no one knows you're doing it. People are just healthy and living good lives, and so that's a really good example of what happened this year in the state of Florida. So speaking of the Deputy Secretary, Barnhill, of course most folks in the audience would not know her. You guys know her. She's I do, yes. She's 58 years old, and a year and a half ago she had a major heart attack. She's a petite woman, lives, exercises, eats right, and works in a very stressful environment, and she had
Sorry. She works at the Capitol, y'all.
and she had a very serious heart attack, and she was actually on her way to work, didn't feel well. She walked into a local restaurant to pick up bagels for her office staff, and in the restaurant she felt like she was having a heart attack. And she said she looked around the restaurant at the people who were eating breakfast, and she wondered who in that restaurant knew CPR. And as it turned out, being a woman and wanting to deny that she was having a heart attack, she got in her car and drove to the hospital, which is not what you do. She did, in fact, have her very, very serious heart attack in the emergency room, which is why she's alive today. I tell you her story because tomorrow is World Heart Day, sponsored by the World Heart Foundation. And we're emphasizing in Gulf and Franklin counties and all the counties across the state the American Heart Association's new guidelines for CPR for teenagers and adults, and it is now super, super easy. We've passed out some brochures through the audience, and we'll get copies for your staff. It's essentially 2 steps that you take. If you're by yourself and a teen or an adult goes down and is unresponsive and doesn't have a pulse, you only have to do 2 things. You have to dial 911 first. You really have to call for help first. And then you have to do chest compressions. Hard chest compressions in the center of the chest 100 times a minute. And you go, well, how would I know if it was 100 times a minute? Think about the Bee Gees song, Staying Alive. Staying alive, staying alive.
Can you say that 100 times a minute?
Absolutely. That's your beat. And I would encourage all of you to go home and Google hands-only CPR, play one of the Staying Alive videos, and now you know how to do CPR. Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Well, thank you all, and one more question, if
Yes,
I might. Department of Agriculture under Commissioner Putnam done a marvelous job with schools in terms of the food lunch program. Y'all work together, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We're actually implementing the 5210 program, 5 fruits and vegetables, 2 hours of screen time or less, 1 hour of physical activity or more, and 0 sugary drinks. And we're incorporating the Department of Agriculture's Food for Thought Harvest of the Month campaign so that each month the students will learn about a new fruit or vegetable, how it's grown, and how you can incorporate that in meals.
Tell me about sugar drinks and diet drinks.
I can't speak scientifically about it, but what I'm told is that the sugar, the sweet diet drinks have other health impacts that are not positive and still cause you to crave the sweets, and ultimately there's no significant weight loss from the diet drinks. The recommendation is no soda.
Drink
It's
water.
Drink water.
Yes, sir. In fact, really the recommendation is don't drink your calories, except for children having milk, of course. There you go.
Yeah.
I guess we better open them and drink some. Thank y'all.
Thank
you.
Real quick, Senator.
Yes, sir.
Hey, ladies, I'll tell you this. She talks about Kim Barnhill, though. She's from Monticello, Florida, which is where I'm from. She is a fine, fine lady, and so she was the chief of staff to Dr. Armstrong of the Department of Health. So don't take my flippancy of somebody that doesn't care, but she worked in a very stressful environment. She was the number 2 person over there, and it about killed her, literally. This lady's a model of health. The fact that she drove to the hospital is unbelievable. She's lucky she's alive. So I'm glad to hear that. I hadn't heard that part of the story where she looked around. So I appreciate y'all doing what you're doing.
Okay, Gail Dickert. Ms. Dickert, come on down.
Hey, Miss Gail.
Hello, Representative Brashears, Senator
Hello again.
Lawford. Hope you can put up with this again.
Oh, we can.
Glad to see
Oh,
you.
I would like to say to all of these people here today, we're looking at the very best. There's some wonderful people in our Florida legislature, and these are 2 of the best, because I know that you have the heart of the people. They're in your heart, and you care, and you're there for the people,
Thank you, Ms. Dickert.
and rather than the money. Amy just handed me something that I feel like I should mention because she forgot to mention, because it's critically important, and I couldn't believe she forgot to mention it. The AFL-CIO, am I saying that right, Amy?
Yes.
AFL-CIO, which
Yeah.
is a huge union. They have just passed a resolution to ban fracking, and you know how important jobs are. The AFL-CIO, I'm not familiar with saying that. Anyway, they know the danger, they know what has happened to the workers in the field, where a lot of their lives have been destroyed, a lot of them have been lost, a lot of them have died, and so they have passed a ban that will go to the legislature to ban fracking in Florida for the AFL-CIO. And the fire departments cannot deal with fracking injuries, and physicians can't. The physicians were the ones who originally came to me because they knew I had developed boys and girls clubs in the state of Florida, and they've written a book for families on a lot of the health issues that were just discussed here. I could stand up and cheer for those ladies that were here. They're wonderful. We know the dangers of cigarette smoking and the taking chemicals and drugs. We also know what happens if you drink water with benzene in it, which is what you probably would be drinking if they did fracking here, because that's what they're drinking in California and Colorado and places where they do have fracking. A lot of their water supply has been destroyed. And I would like to say that what Amy forgot to say also is that we're certainly not opposed to traditional oil drilling. A lot of that is going on in the Panhandle, and when the oil lobbyist speaks, he says, we've done oil drilling in Florida for years. It's safe. He's talking about traditional oil drilling where you drill down, not where you go down and inject tons and tons of chemicals. They inject tons of chemicals like benzene and toluene, which is a neurotoxin. And so I want to make that clear. We're not against traditional oil drilling. That's not what they have in mind for your area, because the new way is to frack and to use all the chemicals that get into your water supply. And I represent also the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs. 13,000 members across the state of Florida. I don't know if you have a Florida Federation of Garden Club here, but we do in Madison, Florida, and I'm the Water and Wetlands Chair for them. And so that body of 13,000 people across Florida did a resolution, a ban statement to ban fracking. A lot of our members in the Garden Club are now threatened by fracking in their area, like Naples. There's been lawsuits galore for the last 3 years to try to keep them out, and they fracked the first well illegally, and they had to do something about it. There was a huge issue about it, but fracking is not illegal in Florida, and it can be done, and it will be done unless we do something to ban it. I'd just like to very quickly name a few of the places. Since last February, when we decided to do with the same thing that they did in New York and Vermont to ban it when they saw the devastation that happened in Pennsylvania and the earthquakes, they went door to door, and they banned it in New York. And so far, we have, since just February, we have 35% of Florida under a resolution for a ban. It includes Alachua County, Escambia, Gaston, Jefferson, Madison, my hometown. It was headlines. They want to be clean. We don't want our water or our Blue Springs that got best swimming hole in the U.S. We don't want any of that contaminated, or Swanee River. And you have the most beautiful water here in the world. I spent a lot of my youth, actually still do, come over here. We have property in Franklin County, and we love it over here. And it's just beautiful. Sailing out of Carabel, I love it, and I love the people over here. It's just the sweetest people in the world. Anyway, St. Johns County and Union County, Broward, Flagler, Hamilton, Leon, and when these people that are pushing this, and they're being paid a lot of money to push it, when they're doing that in the legislature, they are doing that in a county, we tell them, and in a city that has a resolution for a ban on fracking. And Martin County, Monroe County, St. Louis, Key West, Tampa, St. Augustine, Flagler. And so those, would you give me permission just to read a short part of the new bill which I just got? This is the main thing that got me interested in this. Whenever the doctors said to me, they said, Gail, would you come help us testify? And I said, I have to read the bills first. I have to understand what I'm doing. And so one of the first things I read was, it just totally, I couldn't believe it. This is America, y'all. This is America. They don't do this sort of things to us. They don't do these things to us. They don't take away our rights and our freedoms and our local authority. And so I just got Amy just handed me this new bill, and it's worse than the one before. The word fracking now has such a bad connotation that what they've done is remove it totally from the bill. And so they refer to it as high pressure stimulation and so forth, which is just double talk. Anyway, the legislature declares, and listen closely to what this takes away from you, the people. The people are all that matter in Florida and what we have in our land and the water we have left. Last year, 75% of the people of Florida said that we want clean water. We want to conserve and protect. We want to do what our Constitution, our Florida Constitution guarantees every one of us the right to clean water. This is what they hope to take away. The legislature declares that all matters relating to the regulation of the exploration, development, production, processing, storage, and transportation, put your rails at risk and everything. Storage and the transportation of oil and gas are preempted to the state, to the exclusion of all existing and future ordinances or regulations relating thereto adopted by any county, municipality, or other political subdivision of the state. Any such existing ordinance that has been in your county or city pertaining to oil and gas before, dead. Okay? Any such ordinance has been before. Anyway, what it does, it totally preempts. It exempts your it preempts your local law. Your county commission could not make an ordinance or pass any law that has to do with oil and gas transportation, any part of oil and gas. If this bill gets passed, it would be over. And so, thank you for your time. I appreciate it so much. And I just leave with
driving all the way over here. You gonna come to Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Let me leave these with you. This is our resolution from the Garden Club, which I forgot to have.
And how many members? 10,000?
13,000.
13,000.
13,000 across the state, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon.
Thank you so much for your patience and listening. We gotta protect what we got, right?
Okay, Warren, where are you? Come on down, bud.
I'll be brief.
I think they're laughing at you.
Yeah, I think they are. I wonder why. Just wanted to say, number one, we thank you for coming down. I know I see y'all in Tallahassee a lot, and y'all come down all this delegation meeting, and then in between wherever you can. Gulf County means something to y'all, and we appreciate that. Y'all mean something to us. The only thing that I wanted to mention to you that I haven't mentioned to you before is to make sure, with all this oil spill that's happened and the monies that's going to economic development through Triumph, there's a formula there that says 75% goes to the 8. 25% can go to the rest of the state. And the reason that formula is there is because the 8 had the biggest impact. Much more than 75%, but we're okay with 25% going to the rest of Florida if it's going to help Florida. But the main thing is, y'all let us know what we can do to make sure that that 75% stays in the 8. There's going to be $300 million in that pot if y'all allocate it through the BP funds in July of this year. So that money's real money that's going to come quickly. There's opportunities with the port. There's opportunities in every community and every county in the 8, and $300 million will go a long ways to help our economic development in the Panhandle, diversify our economy.
Or tell everybody what the 8 counties.
Yeah, it's 8 counties that were the disproportionately affected during the oil spill. It goes from Wakulla all the way to Escambia. There's 8 of us. We were the most impacted counties, and that's why the federal legislation was written like that, is because we were the most infected and we needed to get some of the monies. There's a lot of different pots of money and a lot of moving parts, but the most important thing for all of us to do is leverage all these different pots, and Triumph requires you to leverage that money. So we've got to put some of our money in, we've got to find other pots of money to put in, but it's important. Most important thing is make sure that 75% stays to Gulf County so we can get some for the port. And we understand, I've spoken with Senator Gage, we understand that they're looking for a big impact through the Panhandle also, and I'm fine with that. If they find something that they've got to invest $200 million and it's in Bay County or if it's in Walton County, it's going to impact the region. We're fine with that. But we do know that $300 million is enough money to help each individual county too. So at any rate, that's where we're at. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Okay, Patricia, Marvin, come on down. I believe that's you. Beach Restoration Project, Pilot Research Project.
Good evening. I certainly appreciate all y'all do for our county. You toted a lot of buckets for us, and we really appreciate that. If you weren't toting, we'd be kind of high and dry out here. Basically, what I want to try to get across to you is the infrastructure needs of the South Gulf County in terms of the beach restoration. When you look at restoration for the beaches, it's important for a number of reasons. The environment, we have a large percentage of the turtles, endangered species turtles, are born out here on these beaches. And the endangered birds, if we lose the sand, they don't have a place to come lay their eggs. The economic impact on the Gulf County government, 25% of all the property values are from the rocks out to the state park. Over 50% of the bed tax comes from out there. If we lose that property out there, we have a tremendous impact on the whole county. Tourism, as I said, 50% of the income from TDC comes from out there. Jobs, 17% of all jobs in Gulf County are out there. The important thing is, when you look at the sand and the replenishment of that sand, we're the fastest eroding beach in Florida, if not the United States. There are reasons for that. Will it quit eroding if we put more sand out there? No. No more than if you pave a road, you've got to repave a road. If you build a bridge, you've got to refix a bridge. Infrastructure requires your constant maintenance of it, and that's what we have to have out on the beach. The application, the county has put an application in through DEP. We're getting matching funds, trying to leverage different things, but we need your support to keep that application up on the top of the list and make sure that it is one of the funded sources from DEP. And basically, that is essential for the entire county, not just the personal property owners that live out there. The second portion of that is we need to try to figure out some ways that we can at least slow down some of the beach erosion, not just here in Gulf County, but throughout Florida. All these beaches erode, and we need to look at some pilot projects, which we have presented to, the Gulf County has presented to y'all in SEBRA, $1 million project to try to look at beginning to put some reef structure in that might divert some of the currents. We brought it to you last year. It didn't make it, but we scaled it down to a $1 million project. But that could have a major impact, not just for this beach, but for the beaches in Florida. And it gives us this beach has been researched for years and years and years, and data on this beach and currents have been out there. So we would have some very fine research study coming out of that pilot project. So we ask you from the bottom of our hearts to support these two things, keep us in the DEP pot, and get us this pilot project, and let's see if we can not just help Gulf County, but Florida. This is essential to Gulf County, and I'm going to take a minute here. Could I ask people in the audience that feel that this is important or support the beach restoration project to please stand up?
That's good.
And they ain't all from the Cape.
Okay.
Last one thing for you. I'm going to have to tell you. I tell you this every time, and I do appreciate it. But every time y'all save us money, taxes up at the state level, it seems like our ad valorem taxes go up because we have so many unfunded mandates. Please make them quit sending unfunded mandates. It kills us for ad valorem taxpayers.
You're right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate you.
Okay, one more. Second call, Ron Schaefer, second call. You want to pass? Is it okay? Come on down.
I'll be very brief. because I'm kind of hoarse. But I just want to echo what Pat said. We need that sand out there. And I know it's economic. I know that happened. I live out there, and I'm in trouble. I'll be very selfish about that. But I'm worried about that peninsula in general. I'm very worried about Category 4 cleans that place out. When the peninsula goes, I'm a wind engineer. Peninsula goes, next is Port St. Joe. Elevation less than 10 feet. So I'm concerned about this whole Gulf County, South Gulf County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheffer. Appreciate it. Okay, I believe that's all the general public. Is that right? Anybody else? Okay. All right, let's move on down. Chairman, Board, where are you? Mike Daniel, come on down, buddy. Welcome.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Representative Beshears. We're a small county, Gulf County. We're a lot like a lot of the other counties that you represent, and throughout the state of Florida. I think of little Clay County, Hendry County, Gilchrist. We have the same issues they do. We have health issues, we have environmental issues, we have erosion issues, and we have job issues. And I appreciate what Ms. Lindeman, and I'm always a big supporter of Dr. Hardman here and her drive. She's a fighter, I'll tell you that. But anyway, here in Gulf County, we've got a good team together with our EDC, our TDC, the Chamber, and our Port Authority. We're working together, we're pulling together, and I feel in my heart that we're going to be victorious. It's just going to take a little time. We'll come through and all these projects get together. But again, I'm going to turn Mr. Butler. I know in the sake of time for you, he has something he wants to pass out, and we'll follow it. But again, Senator, Representative, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, Representative, appreciate you guys being here. I want to say you have a very great staff. They're easy to talk to. When you make phone calls, they're friendly and they're nice, and that goes a long ways. My list today is one page long, but it's pretty much what Small County Coalition has been pushing, and we agree with Small County Coalition. We've added some to it, the last item on the list. We're asking you guys to help us protect priority funding for the Small County road funding, revenue sharing, physically constrained programs, state aid for local libraries, support for transportation projects and programs, transportation disadvantaged, regional planning council, small county solid waste grants, housing funds, county health department funding, and rural health initiatives, aerial photography, small county water projects, payment in lieu of taxes, courthouse and infrastructure projects. Those that mean a lot to small counties. Small counties are small ways, don't have a whole lot of money. And I've been working for the county commission a little better than 25 years, and it's same thing year after year after year. We just got done with budget last week, and every year we're trying to figure out some way to cut taxes and cut the millage. And it's almost impossible to do, and it is impossible to do every year. But on our list, we have the small county solid waste program funding. We asked in the legislature to fund $90,000 again. This year, as you know, we haven't got anything so far. I know we're going to get some money. It's like the money is coming, but we haven't got it yet. Rural economic development support proposal and funding that will stimulate economic development and enhance economic opportunities in rural communities. Additional flexibility in funding within rural development grant program for rural areas of opportunity program, and funding to support local incentives necessary to secure economic development projects in Florida's small constrained counties. I've been chairman of the EZDA for 20 years. We went in enterprise-owned business because of the net ban in 1994. Legislature talked about it in 95, enacted the first day of 96, and it was a 10-year program, and then it was up again for another 10-year, and I've been chairman the whole 20 years. And anyway, it's going away. We have one more meeting, quarterly meeting, third Thursday in October. It'll be our last EZDA meeting, and then of course it goes away the last day of December. Pretty good program. Gulf County during the boom times, we were number 2 in the state of Florida utilization of the program, behind Miami-Dade for 2 years in a row. Third year we were behind with number 3 We're behind Miami-Dade, Broward, then Gulf County. For Gulf County to utilize the program the way we did, and it was mainly because there was a housing boom. We have a big trust plant in Gulf County, and a lot of people were utilizing the program. But it's typically on a house. I sign them every week as the application comes through. You can save $2,500 worth of sales tax on a house, on a typical 2,000 square foot house, and it's $2,000. $2,000. It means a lot. The recommending a cap on Medicaid cost share increase by 3%. If we have a cap on it, at least we know where we're going. We don't have to worry about a large jump in Medicaid. Land acquisition support provision that require involvement of local officials within land acquisition programs. That way, up front, we can be involved in what's happening in our county. If it's going to be large land acquisitions, whether it be by the government or others, we like to be part of it early on. The payment in lieu of taxes, that's something to PILT. The Gulf County, I think we only collect about $6,000 a year, and there's a lot more government-owned land in Gulf County than $6,000 a year worth. The transportation disadvantaged in rural areas support additional funding to address unmet demand for transportation disadvantaged citizens in Florida rural areas. Volunteer firefighter program. I too have been since like 1983 volunteer fireman. I live on St.Joe Beach, and been in the fire department since '83. It is hard. My first certification program was only a 30-hour program, and it went to a 40-hour program.
That's 100.
Now everything together you have to do is like 240 hours that we have to go through, and it's hard for. Typically, I'm tired of pulling hose, and you need a young, strong guy pulling hose, and it's hard to get those guys. I've been there a long time ago to take time out to go to school, 202 to 140 hours to go to school to become a fireman, and it's something. We have a couple of communities this past year, in the last 12 months, it's fell out from like a 6 rating, ISO rating of 6 to a 10, because we don't have enough people to show up. We need at least 4 show up every fire, every structural fire. And we are slated for in a couple of years, could be a couple of other communities. We have the best equipment Gulf County's ever had, firefighting equipment, but we don't have enough manpower, and it's hard to get training. It's hard to convince somebody to. How about let the family go for a pretty good bit of time, and you sit up here in class and go through class and pass tests. And it has, to some degree, got better over the years, and to some degree it hadn't. The last item on this list is CBER's Community Budget Issue Request. Gulf County Board of Commissioners last meeting, last week, discussed we'd like to be able to get the septic tanks off the Cape San Blas beaches and run sewer lines to large enough to handle everything, have capacity to handle Cape San Blas. Also, on the Beacon Hill area, the west side, the west beaches, right next to Mexico Beach, we are at the point of putting the laterals in and to get the septic tanks off Beacon Hill Beach and off the west beaches. And the third item is, Pat Hartman's already mentioned it, we turned the CBER request in to you guys for a pilot project at the stump hole to curb the erosion at the stump hole. It'd be something we've been working on for years, and we put a lot of time into it. The state's put a lot of time into it, and we ask your support on that pilot project. That's all we got.
That's it.
Thank you.
You want to leave a
Good
copy?
list. You're gonna give us that list now,
Give
right?
one to there.
And on these details on the CBERs and all, the city of Port St. Joe meets tomorrow night. After they meet, and we have an agreement that we will support the same thing they support, and then we'll get CBERs to you.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me see. See here, we've got, anybody from, Sheriff's Office, Clerk of Court, Tax Collector, Supervisor of Election, Superintendent of Schools. Okay, now we got, Mayor Bo Patterson. Come on down.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I just like to reiterate what everybody else has said. We appreciate you. We know y'all always here and step up to the plate when we need something done. We thank you for all of that. City of Port St. Joe, we have several issues. You know, we have road issues because we're working with the county on some road bond money. We're trying to work more closely with our county representatives to get things done. We're working on affordable housing around here. And I just like to reiterate what Eugene Raffield said about the port. He, along with myself, are tired of seeing our young people get out of school and don't have any jobs here. When they have to go places like Tallahassee, Pensacola, Jacksonville, Tampa to find work. And we need this port going, we really do. We need some industry here. We love our tourism, don't get us wrong. But as far as I know, since I've been living here in this city, we have never been able to depend on tourism to give us what we need. We need industry also. We always live by industry. We had our meals, we had 2 or 3 meals, going, and we're looking for some clean industry. And I think our port will help us bring that. So we look to you gentlemen to do any and everything you can, make this port a reality. And we thank you once again for being here, and y'all have a safe trip home. And I would like for you, either one of you, when you leave here today, if there's any way you can go down Garrison Avenue. We have an issue down there with a manufactured home.
Oh, yeah. Heard about that.
It's called a modular home on a frame. But it's just the way the industry manufacturers get around city ordinances to put mobile homes in our city.
Yeah, we're real familiar with that issue.
So if you haven't seen it, ride by there. There's no mistaking what it is. We thank you, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Okay, City of Weewalt. Mayor, I don't see the mayor, but anybody here from Weewalt? Okay. Let's see. All right, is anybody else that's been inspired today? You know, the preacher says, come on down. We're not Billy Graham, but close to it. All right, well, we're gonna close out here. I'm gonna ask Halls to close us out here, and then I'll say a few things, and we'll be here to mingle for a while.
Thank you, Senator. Again, appreciate all the comments today. We always learn something from these things, like I said, but you know what? There's always some take-homes. Always look at the notes, what the last meeting was, and some of the issues that we've had tackled and some of the things that we've been resolved as a result of these. So don't think these things fall on deaf ears, I promise you. We understand, the small county thing we hear time and time again. And I know we know it's frustrating, it's tough, but we'll continue to do what we can and fight that fight for you. It's funny, I was looking over these senator here, right here. We talked about beach nourishment last year. We come up with a plan thanks to Pat Hardiman. We've tackled it. We started talking about cell service on the beach. We found it, we knew it was a problem. We found a plan and we tackled it. We've been working on the port, come up with a plan, and we're tackling it. And so, these things, it does take time. We appreciate your patience, but don't think for 1 second that we didn't get the answer you want immediately, that we aren't thinking about it and worried about it and working on it. So I'll end with that. Never been one to say a whole lot, so thanks. Appreciate it all. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you being here.
Dude, let me add to that. We're facing in Florida, I think, a rather unique situation with rural counties. It's more pronounced today than it's ever been, the difference between mid-sized counties and urban counties and the rural counties. It's that gap's getting a little bigger. And we have been putting far too many unfunded mandates on local governments. We have. And we tried, somehow we got to figure that out. Education is one piece of that. We brag about how much more money we're putting in there, but all that money's coming because of you're paying more taxes at the local level. We know, we know that. So, but quite frankly, sometimes this one man, one woman, one vote rule hurts us a little bit. We've got 9, 10, 11 counties together, and some of our counterparts, they got that many in one neighborhood, and they're not real.
Thank them, sir. That's all.
That's right. We're better looking for sure, but we do have to outsmart them, outthink them a little bit. But it is a challenge, and we take it real seriously. And somehow we and the state as a whole, got to figure it out. If not, our small rural counties are going to be in trouble. Well, they're already in trouble, but even more so. But, again, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for letting us represent you in the legislature. We're gonna hang around here a little bit, and again, I would encourage you, when you come to Tallahassee, look us up or call us. If you got any ideas or anything, especially when it comes to hot topics like the drilling, the port. We just want to know everything that's going on. So again, thanks for appreciate you being here, and thanks again to our great staff.